Go, you Albany Danes. Tracy Morgan in the house. Holla, Albany Danes. Peace.
Hello, and welcome back to an exciting new season of UA's Double Overtime. We're here to kick off our season with an exciting Super Bowl edition. I'm Spencer Pesh, with my co-host to my right, Connor Delaney.
Welcome back, everyone. It feels good to be back. You know, that great job bringing in there, Spencer, taking over. I like that.
It was my first time.
Way to go. So.
And to my left, my other co-host, Mike Wolf.
Welcome back, and guess what? It's great to be back. You know, I like to consider myself a little bit like Ray Lewis when I'm in here, because just like him, he leaves it all on the field. I leave it all on the set.
I love it. I love it.
I love it. Great stuff. Great stuff. Well, as you know, the Super Bowl is Sunday, so we are going to devote the majority of this show to talking about that game. Let's start it off with the kickoff. Who's going to win the kickoff, Mike?
Heads or tails?
Heads or tails?
Heads or tails. Papa John's coin flip?
Heads or tails, I do not ever stray away from heads.
Tails.
You pick tails, you're a jerk. You follow the old saying, tails never fails. That's not true. I've seen it done a million times. Tails fails many times.
Tails fails. What do you got, Connor?
I'm going tails. He's going heads. I'm going tails.
Tails?
That's done.
I always go tails. You got to go tails. Tails never fails. It's true.
Let's get into the porn stuff, though. Let's get into porn stuff.
All right.
Let's get into
Super Bowl XLVII, for those that are not educated in the area of Roman numerals, that is Super Bowl 47. We have the 49ers versus the Ravens. Now, let's start it off with, who are you picking right now?
Who am I picking right now?
Right now.
Right now, I'm gonna have to go with the Ravens. You know, the atmosphere of Ray Lewis's last season. You can't tell me that as a player, as his teammates, they want to go out there and give that extra effort, knowing it's his last game ever as an NFL linebacker. So we'll see what the course of the show goes. Some arguments for San Francisco. Maybe you guys can sway me, but as of right now, at the beginning of the show, I have to go with the Baltimore Ravens winning the Super Bowl.
You know what? I have to agree myself. I would like to go with the Ravens also, even though the last time they were in the Super Bowl, they were against my New York Giants in the year 2000. Destroyed them. Kerry Collins wasn't really bringing it that day, but you know what? Sometimes you got to root for the enemy. And you know what? Just like you said, Ray Lewis, it's his last year. It's his last game ever. They're all putting it down there. They're not leaving anything.
Not leaving anything on the field for that game. You're absolutely right with that.
Got to go with the Ravens. Got to go with the Ravens. I can't respect Colin Kaepernick. He's a thief. He stole that starting quarterback spot.
How can you say he stole the spot? He competed. That's what happens in the NFL. You have two good players.
Got a concussion.
Alex Smith, sure, he had the best completion percentage in the NFL, but what does that matter?
He's a good quarterback.
He's a great quarterback. He's not to take away from him, but look what Kaepernick has done stepping into that role.
Yeah, he had the third best passer rating before he got the concussion and left. But you know what? Colin Kaepernick, he brought them to the Super Bowl. Alex Smith didn't do that last year. Well, he had a full season. Colin Kaepernick had half a season.
Well, it's funny how you look back at last season and talk about Super Bowl and playoffs and everything, and both of these teams, if you look at it, despite your beloved Giants, should have been in the Super Bowl last season. You look at the 49ers and the two muffed punts, and then you look at the Ravens that dropped touchdown pass by Lee Evans there in the end zone. So if you're looking at it, this we should have had a Harbaugh Bowl last Super Bowl if there wasn't for a few key mistakes.
Key things, well. Football is a game of inches, Connor. I don't know if you understand that. Every play counts. So when one play messes up, that's the play. Game of inches. It means exactly how it's.
You're right. You're right. Not taking anything from the Giants. Congrats. We've got Giants fans in the house.
They're still the Super Bowl champions until Sunday.
Until Sunday.
Until Sunday.
Don't you think you should have to get into the playoffs in order to defend your crown there? No?
If that was the case, I don't think the Bills should be in the NFL anymore. But.
Wow. Low blows already, folks, here at UA Overtime. Low blows already.
All right.
What do you guys think of the story of the brothers? How what do you make of that? Harbaugh's Jim and John. Who do you take if you have one coach? Who do you like?
Well, John Harbaugh is more experienced. He's got more time in the NFL.
But Jim Harbaugh is coming to the NFL from Stanford, and what he's done already with the record he has, NFC Championship game, Super Bowl, back-to-back season. That's pretty impressive, right there off the bat for starting off his career. I think I have to go with Jim. I like him. As a younger brother, I have an older brother, so I kind of more enticed to root for Jim, being that, I like to see that younger brother upset the older brother.
This game, it's not only about winning for their team, not only about winning for themselves. they're winning for mommy and daddy on this one. You know, it's bragging rights. They're going to be sitting around the Thanksgiving table next year, and who won last year?
With that Super Bowl ring on his finger, with
Yeah.
breaking the wishbone, he's got the Super Bowl ring there. I mean, that's definitely bragging rights.
Yeah, of course. There's always competition between brothers, and what bigger competition than the Super Bowl?
Let's break it down by offense, defense, special teams. Let's really dissect the game here and look at, let's start with the offense, and who do you have the better offense? I mean, Flacco so far this postseason, 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, playing phenomenal. Do you like him over Kaepernick as far as the quarterback matchup goes, or how do you feel about that?
Well, definitely because, Joe Flacco, he's got more playoff experience. He's got over 850 yards right now, like you said, 8 touchdowns. He's playing like a man possessed. He's definitely the best quarterback in the playoffs this season.
Sure. Even though Kaepernick breaking the rushing record for a quarterback in the playoffs. I mean, that's dangerous. That's the thing with your Ravens, with your game plan. You got to go in on both sides, looking. They run that option play or that handoff, and that's tough to defend against. That adds another game to the game plan.
Exactly. But I would pick Joe Flacco over Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick, he looks like Squidward playing like a good Michael Vick.
You think he has the better weapons? Who do you think has the better weapons?
Well, with the run game.
Spencer, what do you think? Who do you think has the better weapon? I haven't heard from you in a while here. I'm a little nervous. What do you think? Who do you think has the better weapon?
I
understand,
but I want to see how my 2 superstars go at it. But I want to say
superstars.
I want to say the Ravens have the better weapon because you got Ray Rice in the running game. You got Torrey Smith, who has been phenomenal this postseason, and Anquan Bolden. Anquan Bolden is the definition of a man playing wide receiver. He's made some incredible catches, and you have.
Sorry. A little technical difficulties there. Keep going.
And Anquan Bolden has made some phenomenal catches this postseason that has set him above any wide receiver in this postseason. You got to love Randy Moss on the 49ers, and if the 49ers did win, I'd only.
Did you hear Randy Moss coming out saying he's the greatest quarterback of all time? Let's just pause on that one, Randy, and take a step back.
Self-proclaimed.
There's another 49 great that had that jersey on a little longer than you had.
190, yeah. Jerry Rice, 190-something touchdowns, 23,000 yards. What did Randy Moss have? I think Randy Moss is right now 14,000-something, 150 touchdowns. He's got a long way to go to even compare himself to Jerry Rice. I don't know what he's thinking with that, self-proclaiming himself. But speaking of greatest of all times, there's a lot of conversation as Ray Lewis being one of the greatest of all time, linebacker-wise. Now, I don't agree because as a Giant fan, I have to look at Lawrence Taylor.
Sure. And Lawrence Taylor is one of the greatest linebackers of all time.
Is the greatest linebacker of all time. And then there's others like Dick Butkus. And you know what? To me, Ray Lewis isn't Dick Butkus. He's not Lawrence Taylor, but he's up there. He's up there with Junior Seau.
The reason I have so much respect for Ray Lewis and what he brings to a football game is, one, he's the only player in his draft class of 1996 to still be playing to this day. So playing through the injuries, playing through pain, that just shows toughness in itself right there. Number 2, the passion he brings to the game. What he gives up every morning, wakes up every morning, does the routines he does. You'll never find a harder working player than Ray Lewis in the game. And that's why I really root for the Ravens. He's the reason why I root for the Ravens, Ray Lewis, because ever since I remember being a young kid doing fantasy Madden drafts, I would always draft Ray Lewis just because of the player he was. And that's the kind of guy he is. That's how he carries himself. He carries himself with that passion for the game, that love of the game. And that's hard to come by nowadays, to find a player that truly, gives it their all in everything they do when it comes to the game. So, you can't not say he's in the conversation for one of the greatest of all time. You can't take that away from him. Especially for his legacy, to go out like this, if he does go out with a Super Bowl ring, as that's a story in itself.
Well, no, I definitely agree. He's one of the greatest of all time. He's in the top 15. In my top 15, he's in my top 15. But like I said, he's not
for linebackers.
Yes,
top 15.
Top 15.
Name me 3 better other than LT.
Green Bay Packers.
All right, you guys are so biased, it's not even funny. You don't see me shouting out Bruce Smith over here on defense.
Lawrence Taylor. What, are you going to tell me that Lawrence Taylor isn't?
And I already agreed with you. I said
Dick Butkus.
I agree, and I acknowledge both Dick Butkus and LT as 2 of the greatest linebackers of all time. But to say top 15, you can't put him in the top 5?
Not top 5.
Wow. I'm speechless, folks. Not the top 5.
You know what? Well, when it goes by, he's got.
So you're telling me
if he wins with the most tackles in NFL history, but he's also hopping in on every time. They're already down. He'll hop on top. That comes into play with the stats and everything. But he still has the heart. He brings the heart.
He likes to get in there. He likes to get on the action.
I agree. I have no problem with that. I love players like that. I'm a player that's all about heart, and that's why I love Ray Lewis.
What was the quote you gave me?
A man equipped with just his heart can beat a man who solely relies on skill any day of the week. But you know what? With Ray Lewis,
Gives
he
me
has
chills.
heart,
Gives
he
me
has
chills every
skill,
time.
and he's
Gives
got
me chills.
intimidation. So,
He's very intimidating. He killed a guy once.
what?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Come on, let's keep it. Let's. Jeepers, man. You know, kill it. But
Other things coming up in the news with Ray Lewis is the use of performance-enhancing drugs.
and that's nonsense too. That's media day looking for a story. I mean, and let's. If it was 2 years ago, why is it getting brought up now
that's
when he's in the
exactly.
Super Bowl on media day? Like, and he said it himself. Like, that's crazy. No, he said no one wakes up every morning like I do, works as hard as I do every morning, and for him to get this brought on him now of all times is just
Exactly. And what he said, it was the trick of the devil. And he's a very spiritual man. He's
like the same
he believes
category as Manti Te'o
in the Christian faith. He said it's the trick of the devil. He says, when the devil brings you down, you need God to bring you back up. So,
Do you write this stuff down before you come in? Like what?
I mean,
where do you get this stuff?
I was watching Ray Lewis on media day. What else are you going to do? But like you said, it's just the media. Had they not made it to the Super Bowl, would they have even brought this topic up of the performance-enhancing drugs? Because like you said, it was found out 2 years ago, and they're only bringing it up now. Would they have waited until the Hall of Fame where he was going to get voted in? I think it's just the accuser wanting the spotlight right now because he knows it's on the biggest stage.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, with sports and media, it's always terrible. It's always something bad happens, they make it horrendous. When it's something really bad, they make it seem like a Tyrannosaurus Rex is destroying a neighborhood. You can never really judge what's really going on with the media.
I completely agree.
I
but
agree. But with that being said, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will come back talking more about the Super Bowl. Stay tuned.
Yeah, the Knicks got some team. Carmelo Anthony, Amari Stoudemire. I can't even think about that. How's it going, guys? I know here on UA Double Overtime we're a sport-related show, but today I want to talk about our youth. And a big problem with our youth today is marijuana. But what I want to know is, does our youth have the strength to say no?
UA Overtime, #1 in sports and #1 in fighting the war on drugs.
Welcome back. For the second half of our show, we're going to start things off. We're talking about the X Factor. On both teams, we have some superstar players. We got Kaepernick and Flacco. We got Rice and Gore, Bolden and Randy Moss. Connor, who do you think is the standout player of this game?
for the Ravens, X Factor, I have to go Ray Rice in that running game. If they can get him 20-plus carries, control the tempo of the game, time of possession is going to be huge for this game. I think I like Ray Rice the X Factor for the Ravens. On the opposite side of the football with the 49ers, I have to go Michael Crabtree. He's been playing phenomenal since week 14 into the postseason. He's been their number one receiver. Him and Kaepernick really seem to gel really well together. So I have to go Crabtree on the side of the 49ers and Ray Rice on the side of the Baltimore Ravens.
And who do you got, Mike?
Well, for Ray Rice, I agree. He is a spectacular running back, but you know what? I don't think he's going to be the X factor. With Joe Flacco, Joe Flacco playing this well, Ray Rice not getting the opportunities he has, last season, the season before that. They're going to give him some carries, but not as much. Joe Flacco's playing excellent football. They're going to stick to throwing while they can until they need to change it. So I think they're going to do a couple dump offs onto Ray Rice, who's one of the most elusive running backs in the league.
And Mike, that's an interesting point you make. Do you think it's going to be a game within the trenches, like a hard-fought battle down there, low-scoring defensive game, or do you think it's going to be a high-explosive offensive game? I mean, they both have great offenses, they both have great defenses, but obviously defenses win championships. But what type of game do you think will?
I don't want to say it's going to be too low-scoring, but it's nothing that's going to be. No one's going to be running up the score in either team. It's not going to be. I don't think either team are going to get out of the 30s, or into the 30s actually.
Final score.
Final score. I'd say 23-28 Ravens.
3-28.
Interesting. All right, I like that.
So, but for the X factor on the Ravens, I'm still going with Joe Flacco.
Flacco.
I want to talk about Flacco. I think with Flacco, Ray Rice has to play great in order for Flacco to keep doing good.
That's not true.
The
rest of the postseason shows that that's absolutely not true.
I know. Flacco is standing out in this postseason as a phenomenal quarterback.
With Ray Rice not playing phenomenal.
But as we've seen in the past, he's not like an elite quarterback. He's playing like one, but will it hold up? Remains to be seen. If it does hold up, the Ravens win. If he, throws a couple of picks for the first time this postseason, Ray Rice is going to need to pick it up, and the running game is going to have to develop in order for the Ravens to win.
Of course, and Ray Rice is that type of running back that can pick up, hold the weight of the team.
If the Ravens let him. I mean, he's been streaky all year as far as the amount of carries he's get. Like I said, they need to control the time possession of the game. They need to have, the ball on offense, keep that defense off the field, keep them rested. Because, like I said, a guy like Kaepernick, you don't know if he's throwing, you don't know if he's running, and that's really going to wear down a defense if, they start getting long drives down the field. And then, Flacco's coming out going 3 and out. Ray Rice is getting stuffed up the middle. Because, that 49ers runs defense, I mean, you look, the only guy that really had success against him this season is Marshawn Lynch. And, I mean, he's in a league of his own when it comes to
beast mode.
Beast mode. So, I mean, Ray Rice, he needs to get the job done against that rush defense. Get 20 carries, get 100 yards, maybe get the ball in the end zone a few times. But it's still a lot on Joe. It will take a lot off Joe Flacco's shoulders if Ray Rice can go and perform the way he's capable of performing.
Very true. But I do want to disagree with you on your X factor for the 49ers, Michael Crabtree. I mean, yes, he's a great receiver, but he's not that huge of a threat. He's a yards after catch threat, definitely. But he's not a downfield threat. There's no long ball threat with him. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to go with Frank Gore. Frank Gore is always that truck. He's always there when you need him.
Sure.
You'll never see the guy stop moving his legs. So he's the one that'll push through every single time. I think him, and you know what, even Vernon Davis.
Vernon Davis,
there's been barely any talk about Vernon Davis, and I don't know how that is. He's one of the biggest red zone threats. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we'll have to wait to see what it comes down to, but in my book, I think Vernon Davis and Frank Gore are going to decide the game, not Colin Kaepernick.
Sure.
Or Michael Crabtree for the 49ers.
Yeah, I think whoever has, like you said, whoever has the better, rushing game between Ray Rice and Frank Gore, that's going to be a huge factor in deciding that. Going back to time possession, just controlling the tempo of that game. I mean, depending on the game plan of Jim Harbaugh, whether he's going to want to, make that a high-paced game or just, hand the ball to Frank Gore, keep Kaepernick. You got to think, this is the Super Bowl. I mean, yeah, players say that this is just, this is just another game. This is just like prepping for another game. And sure, it is in the aspect of, going through another game, going through film, doing your scouting, all that stuff. But the atmosphere and just the phenomenon of the Super Bowl. They'll look. Ed Reed, a veteran who's been there, he's like, this probably won't hit me until I'm telling this to my grandkids. Just the significance of the game and, the atmosphere that's going to be surrounding the players. When that kickoff goes off and you see all those flashing lights of camera snaps, that's that moment in itself. I'll be in my living room. It gives me kind of chills. I can't imagine being there on the field itself, being Colin Kaepernick, putting your helmet on, buckling your chin strap, and thinking, I can't imagine the thoughts going through his head as a professional athlete in a moment like that.
Yeah, especially because, there's a couple guys out there that, this isn't their first Super Bowl, but for majority of the players, it's their first Super Bowl. This is going to be a big hit to them right when they get on the field. It could make them or it could break them, to be honest with you. And with that, it's Colin Kaepernick's first season as a starting quarterback, not only to make it all the way to the Super Bowl, that's a great accomplishment. What's crazy about this Super Bowl is that the San Francisco 49ers, they've been to the Super Bowl 5 times undefeated. The Ravens once also undefeated. If the 49ers win this time, they're going to be tied with the Pittsburgh Steelers for 6 Super Bowls, which is a great feat for the franchise. But that's kind of crazy. 2 undefeated Super Bowl teams, and never before happened in the NFL besides the first 10 years probably. So this is
someone's going to get a tail in that loss column.
Yes,
there,
sir.
so.
There's going to be one less undefeated team for the Super Bowls. I mean, I remember,
and you say that about players who haven't, been there before, and you look at the veterans, like a guy like Ray Lewis. He's not really harping about him. I mean, going back to Ray Lewis, I know we already discussed him a little bit, but going back to a veteran and a player like that, he's more excited about giving the opportunity to these guys who've never been in this position before, because he's been there. He has that ring on his finger. Sure, he would love to go out with another one, but he's looking more. He's a true teammate because he'd rather have these guys have that experience, he said, of the confetti falling on their back. Like he wants to be that guy with the confetti hitting his back, not being in the locker room looking on thinking, what if? Like he wants these first-time players to have that experience.
Because he's already had it.
He's been there. Exactly.
He's won the MVP.
Exactly. And the
MVP,
fact that he's like that, it gives his teammates, his players like Ray Rice saying, like, this is our guy, this is our leader. Like, if that's not going to inspire you to play that much harder or give it that much extra, of an inch, like you said, a game of inches, that much extra of, an effort on a 4th down or a 3rd and 1, I mean, what else is? The guy who's completely selfless and looks out but nothing for his teammates and the betterment of his team and could care less about for himself. He wants to see his teammates thrive and his teammates be successful, which really, makes him more than a top 15 linebacker, if you ask me. But
I may have misspoken. I should have said top 10. But I'll hear enough about
Nonetheless.
that later.
Nonetheless. You sure
hear
will.
that, I'll hear that for the next 3 years.
Oh, you
But
sure will. Absolutely.
All right, well, that about wraps it up for our second half of the show. We're going to come back, talk about another. We're going to talk about the halftime show, see if it's going to be a good one, and then we're going to get into our big finish. Stay tuned. Welcome back. For our controversial topic of this special, we're going to talk about the halftime show. Last year, the Black Eyed Peas performed. It kind of sucked. And the halftime show is supposed to be, you know, a real
treat.
A real treat.
Real treat to the
a
fans.
marquee show to perform at the Super Bowl. This year we got Beyonce. I don't really know what to think about it as of yet.
If you like it, you should have put a ring on it.
Besides,
we can do
I don't know how that mixes in
in
with football, like Crazy in Love, like, I don't know. What do you think, Mike? What do you got to say about Beyonce?
I don't know when any of the halftime shows really mixed into football.
I'm usually getting seconds by then. You
Yeah,
know, I'm getting my second plate of food.
If you're, the halftime show, it's for
I watched
that's,
Bruce Springsteen.
That's for the non-football fans.
watched
the
The
halftime
Boss.
show. The halftime show isn't for anybody else. I will watch it this year because it is Beyonce. One of the hottest in the game right now, looks-wise, skill-wise. She's sexy.
chick in the game.
She's
Wearing
got
my
the
chain.
voice. She's got the moves. I'm gonna sit there and watch it a little bit. I have no reason not to. So, Black Eyed Peas last year, it was filled with auto-tune. There was no real performance. Beyonce, she knows how to put on a show. Other than that, I'm going to be eating a whole lot during that halftime show.
So I'm going to diet, so I'm going to try not to eat a lot of wings this year, but
How's that going?
it's going good so
Yeah.
far. It's going good.
I've heard that before.
Shut
You
up.
look good. Hey,
Shut up.
he looks good though. He looks good, folks.
Yeah, maybe next year's New Year's resolution. So
Yeah. Well, what do you got to say about Beyonce?
I'm looking forward to it. Beyonce, and she sung the national anthem for the inauguration of the president. That's pretty.
hey,
that's
USA, man.
USA, America,
This jacket
America.
was
But,
made in America. American made.
Let's get to the
Let's get to the big
get to the
finish.
big finish. Enough
All
about
right,
Beyonce.
starting off with a big finish.
Give me all.
Rudy Gay got traded last night to the Raptors for a bunch of no-names. Jose Calderon is on the Pistons now. Mike, what do you think about it?
One of the most ridiculous trades I've ever seen in NBA history. How are you going to trade him for Tayshaun Prince, who's going to be gone in 2 years, could barely play the game now, and Austin Day, who has potential?
You get Ed Davis, who goes in that backcourt with already Zach Randolph and Marcus Gasol and Darrell Arthur. So he's going to be competing with minutes. I like it on Detroit's end. I like Jose Calderon, helping those bigs with Greg Monroe. Jason Maxfield, that's a good fit for them. They'll probably only stay for this year. They'll probably sign somewhere else. But
No matter what, the Grizzlies are the best team one of the best teams in the NBA right now, and they traded the best player. Stupid move.
best scorer, yeah, stupid move. I agree.
Matt Tateo, is he an idiot, a loser, or is Lene Kukua just that hot?
Probably the biggest loser I've ever met.
I
I've never
think
met him, ever heard of.
I think he just has the
Loser.
psychological mindset of like an 11-year-old. It's just a late bloomer or something. I don't
Definitely
know.
possible. Someone that the Jets are probably going to pick up.
A-Rod, what do you guys think? You done with the Yankees for good, or? is he coming back?
God, I hope so. I never wanted him on the team to begin with as a Yankee fan. A lot of people will tell me I'm a liar, I'm a front runner, all this stuff. Like, oh, you definitely rooted for A-Rod. No, I didn't want A-Rod because I didn't want him taking the spotlight from Derek Jeter. That's my man.
His time with the Yankees has come, and now it has passed. Get rid of him.
Void
Be
his
gone with
contract.
him.
Find
You have
anything you can to
Euclid.
void his
Exactly.
contract.
Please.
I skipped school one time in 6th grade. I saw a grand slam by A-Rod in a day game. It was probably the only thing he's ever done good on the Yankees. Who's winning the Super Bowl MVP? Michael.
Super Bowl MVP. This is a tough one. I'm going to have to go with Ray Lewis. I think he's going to come in with some big plays. It's his last game ever. He's going to really seal the deal for his whole lifetime achievements.
Got Ray Lewis. Score 21-17. Baltimore is the champs.
What do you have
I
for score?
gotta go 27-26 because those are my numbers in my Super Bowl pool. So,
Well, you heard mine already, 28-23 in favor of the Ravens with Ray Lewis as MVP. So, what are you guys plans for watching the Super Bowl?
Well, TBD.
TBD.
Or
What,
to,
not your house?
to be
Couple
announced.
burgers?
My
Couple
house.
burgers?
No, we'll
Couple
see.
burgers?
Well, hey, easy. You know.
Spencer, what are you doing?
I'll probably go over to a friend's house. Probably
Yeah.
see you there.
Yeah, I'm gonna be at Frank and Jay's.
Well, a friend's house.
I might go to Alex's house. We got what is this?
All right,
Well, I'll be at
we'll
Frank and
figure-
Jay's. I'll be eating wings.
We'll
I'll be
figure this.
drinking some beers, watching football. That about wraps it up.
Well,
Great show, guys.
Great
Great
show,
show, guys.
Vic. I hope you're enjoying the sun down in Florida. Mike, what do you got for him?
Nothing much, but catch you later if you give me a good pass.
We'll see you next week, folks. Thanks for watching.
In a recent poll of experts, milk emerged as one of the most preferred beverages. Mountain Meadow Milk was served with these results.
Perfect. Now that's delicious milk.
Bill Sims, you just won the Super Bowl. What are you doing next?
I'm gonna go to Disney World.